Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
What's the difference between a nice guy and a good man?
A nice guy gets along. Yeah, do that. Yeah, I'll do that. They don't necessarily have discernment or judgment, not sure what they stand for or stand against. It's like, yes, 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 sure, yeah, hey. A good man has ideals that they stand for and they'll stand against, and when they're tested, a good man is not a nice guy.
Well said. Hi, everyone. Today's Thursday, March 26th, and that was Matthew McConaughey letting us know the difference between a nice guy, a good guy, a nice guy, and a good man. And he said it really well. There is a difference between a nice guy and a good man, right? A good man isn't popular. A nice guy is. He summed it up really well there. And if you take that and you apply that statement across what's going on in our country now, you get to where we are. We're surrounded by nice guys. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not going to say anything that's going to upset anybody. I'm just going to go which way the wind blows, right? No discernment, no principle. Not a person, right? And that's where our political leaders are, pretty much all of them. If you look around at any political leader, if you look at your county level, your city level, your state level, then the federal level, show me where people of principle are. And this applies to men and women. I know the question was the difference between a nice guy and a good man, but that same concept is applied to women too. Okay? Good people are the ones that stand by their principles, regardless of not if the tides are turning against them or if it's an unpopular position to have. But that's called being an adult. Standing up in the room and affirming what you believe and not backing down. And the reason where we are in today's society is because all of the leaders above us, that's who they are. They go along to get along. You know, I don't want to offend anyone. You know, I don't want to upset the gravy train that's running or rocking with my family. You know, my sister just got a job at this board. My kids are lined up to get into this school, even though they can't read or write. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to let anyone know that I have principles, that I believe this, that I believe that. Because then if I do, then I'm not popular anymore. And that's what all these leaders are about. They're worried about being popular, being the man of the people. Oh, the people love me, the people love me. Yeah, because you don't have any freaking principles and you don't dig in and say, no, that's not acceptable. No, there's no place for that in today's society. No, we shouldn't be having illegals come before Americans. No, we shouldn't be having DEI in schools. No, we shouldn't have trans books in school libraries. Right? Very few people stand up to all of this. No, we shouldn't keep raising taxes on our middle class people. No, we shouldn't outlaw people farming on their own land in Oregon, right? Like all this stuff needs to stop, but there's no principles. There's no principles. And it's just willy-nilly waving, right? Even look at the Republicans today on the federal level, right? What are they doing to get done? No principles. No principles anywhere. Go along to get along, special interests dominate, the gravy train keeps floating, all while here, us, the regular folks that are on the day-to-day operations are fighting tooth and nail day-to-day for our survival. That's why the fatigue is so real. We feel exhausted all the time. People are working harder than ever before, even though technology is better than it's ever been. People are working longer hours to supplement incomes at homes. People aren't making enough money to cover bills, got to take on a second job. And then where does that leave their kids? Open to the craziness of the left and the public schools and the social media where they're taking these kids over. That's why today's episode is the fight for the future. The future of this nation resides in the children that are coming behind us. And we're the ones that need to toe the line to make sure we leave a nation better for them, just like what happened for us. To the parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, okay? They fought. They stood up for American values. They believed in having the nuclear family. They believed in that we could make enough money for one of us to work and the other ones stay at home to make sure our child is being cared for and provided for. But this day and age in 2026, no one has time for that. The only people that have time for that are the uber wealthy, the ones that are telling you how you should live your life. They're the ones that are able to spend time with their kids, but honestly, most of them choose not to. They're jet sagging all over the country doing this, that, and the other thing, right? Good example would be parents, those people as well, right? Just you see all the celebs and all the garbage they put up there, even these political leaders, right? All these political leaders that are bouncing around state to state, right? Giving these speeches here, getting a dinner over here, getting on this show in this state right here. They're just brushing their kids off to the side. They don't care because the gravy train's too good for them. And the kids are the ones that are ones to suffer. Now, those kids, are they suffering a lot? Yeah, they're missing their parents. Their parents aren't in their lives, but financially, they'll be pretty well set. And then the connections that parents are making now will benefit them down the line. So you keep that have-not separation between Americans. All because of no principles. All because of no principles. And then what does it mean to be a good parent? Right? Because these leaders, the way they're acting, obviously how they're presenting to us makes me believe that their generation that they're raising isn't so hot either. They're not the best parents out there. If you see some of the things going on with some of our influencers or political leaders and their kids and some of their stuff they put on social line, you can see the mental health is a real issue amongst these people. And I guarantee a lot of it is because they had absentee parents and absentee fathers. But check out this clip on what does it mean on being a dad. I heard this morning and I literally started crying. It broke me. Play it.
One of the toughest things about being a father is when you realize you're raising the ones you can't live without to live without you.
Wow.
You're teaching these guys to learn how to live without you, even though your favorite moment in life was when they're around you. There's nothing like it. It's magical for you to do that. A dad can lose friends. He can be misunderstood by his own family. He can carry the weight of criticism and still sleep just fine at night. You know why? Because his mission isn't to be liked by the crowd. His mission is to be respected, trusted, and loved by the only audience that matters, his children. One day, those kids will look back and realize why dad said no when everyone else said yes. Why he stood his ground when it would have been easier to bend. Why he took the long road, even when the short one looked tempting. A father doesn't measure success by applause. He measures it by the way his children see him when the world is quiet, and by whether they know without a shadow of doubt, that's my dad, and I'm proud he's mine.
That clip hits me hard. Because that clip is so true. That's our job. That's our job. To be strong. To raise that little child. To let them know we stood on principle. That we did it the hard way because we did it the right way. And that's what I want my boy to learn from me. I watch that video and I think about my kid and what I want my legacy to be for my child. And I'll tell you what I want it to be. I want it to be for him to know how much I loved him. Sorry, guys. Man. But I want my child, my boy, to know what he means to me. But also at the same time, I need to make sure I'm raising him the right way, to be tough, to be strong, to be caring, but yet still have empathy, right? It's a hard balancing act. But my goal is to make sure my child, my boy, my buddy, has principles that will carry him through life when I'm gone. And it makes me tremendously sad to think about that day that's gonna happen. But between now and that day, every day, I'm suiting up, I'm showing up, I'm fighting because I love my boy, and my boy needs to know this. And every parent should feel this way. Not just a father to a son, but every parent should feel this way about what they're preparing their child for. And it's not important what everyone else thinks about you. Doesn't matter what your people at work think about you. Yeah, it makes it easier if your coworkers like you. But at the end of the day, in those quiet moments, when the world's not crazy, what does your kid think about you? I believe if all parents took this time to really think about it, how many of us really need to make a change to make sure we're doing the right thing for our kids? A lot of us are probably going to say, yeah, things need to change in our household. Things need to change in my lifestyle. And if that's hitting with you, you got to figure it out. But don't ever let your kids play second fiddle. Don't let that void be there, because if that void is there, something will fill that void, and it's not going to be you. So that's why I make it a point to make sure I see my kid as often as I can, as frequently as I can. I live with him, I know, but I work a lot too, right? So I see him for like a half hour. I see him for about a half hour, 45 minutes in the morning, Monday through Friday, and about an hour at night. So I don't get a whole lot of time with him during the week. So weekend time is real important to us in my house, right? So if you're that parent that's pushing 40, 50, 60-hour weeks, and you got that one day off, yeah, you're tired, you're cranky, but you never get these days back. Make a change. Spend more time with your children, because the world outside is chaotic, and the only thing that's going to prepare them for the world is you, the parent. And if you're not going to prepare them, the world's going to eat them up and spit them out. And if you don't believe me, take a look what's going out on the streets this day and age, right? Take a look what's going out there. Take a look what's going on in the schools. Take a look what's going on out just at these No Kings protests that are coming, right? So let's honestly just start take into account of how precious and how important our kids are, and love on them and protect them and get them ready. Because you should know that this battle is not going to stop when we're gone. This battle is going to have to continue after we're gone. And the ones that are going to carry that battle on are going to be our kids. Otherwise, the system will swallow them up. And I don't want that for my boy. And why is protecting kids so important? Because if it's not us, then who is it going to be? The government? The schools? Take a look at this out of Colorado. Just take a look at the spending that's going on in Colorado in education compared to the drop of enrollment in education. Let's put this up. So other Colorado districts with non-academic staff drastically outpacing declining student enrollment include Boulder Valley School District, Cherry Creek School District, and Poudre School District. Now, if you take a look there, and you can click on each one of these, you can open up the box, Damon, if you want to get a bigger shot. But those purple trend lines, that's Poudre School District. That's up north. That's good money. Those purple trend lines is the increase in non-teacher staff. Those numbers are exploding over the past 20 years. And that green line is student enrollment. And you can see there's a dip happening over the past couple of years, but yet look at that massive increase in spending amongst non-teachers. Where's that money going? That's Poudre. Let's take a look at the next one. Oh, yeah, CCSD, Cherry Creek School District. Wow, take a look at that one. Woo! 207% overall increase while student enrollment is declining. Yeah, your tax dollars hard at work there, Cherry Creek. Let's keep it moving. Boulder Valley, same thing. You're seeing a common trend here, though, that there's a decline in student enrollment in these districts here in Colorado, but yet these administrative costs keep rising. Can anyone say the grift is real? I think we might have one more, Damon. Nope, that's it. Thanks, buddy. So, yeah, so the schools are pumping and asking for continuously more and more money. We need more money to help fund out systems. We need more money to help kids learn. We need more money for this, more money for that, more money for this, more money for that. Yeah. Where's all that money going? Up to the top, administrative staffs, right? They create these positions. Directors, community advocates, equity departments. All these things take millions of dollars and take out from direct access to education for our kids in the state of Colorado. It happens in all the major districts out here. I wish they had Denver on there because I guarantee DPS and APS, Aurora Public Schools, is also following the same trend lines. Enrollment's going down, costs are going up. Why? Because they're hiring their buddies for administrative jobs in the central offices for 6 figures, plus health insurance packages, plus better retirement packages, right? All that stuff adds up over time. But that's part of the grift. That's what happens in the school districts. 100%. No one can tell me it's any different. I've experienced it firsthand. I've seen it firsthand. You need a chief information officer making 6 figures plus a whole department under them. You need a chief financial officer, a chief operating officer. You need a director of middle schools. You need a director of primary schools. You need a director of secondary schools. Then you need a director to talk in between the directors, which is another 6 figures. Meanwhile, class sizes are at 25, 30, where a teacher, it's tough to manage. But if you actually put the funds back into the classrooms there and actually were able to spread these kids out to have smaller class sizes, you could actually see the improvement in student learning. But no one ever thinks like that. Everyone thinks, anyone can handle 30, 35 class kids in a class is normal. And, it's worked for so long, so we're just going to keep doing it that way. While all we stack the administrative side of the district, which then leaves the most at-risk kids, the ones that need the academic interventions, the ones that need the most support, never get it. That's why you get schools that get in these repetitive cycles of just falling into a shit cycle of no one succeeding. It's because the district mapping and the district allocation of budgets don't match up to what the actual communities need, because the district is putting their own self-interest, aka whatever the superintendent and the school board wants, over the actual needs of the people. Which is funny because the school board is supposed to be elected to represent the will of the people and hire a superintendent that is supposed to reflect that will. None of that happens. Just so you know, none of that happens, and that's why the school district's a complete shit. That's why you have LGBT indoctrination going off the rails out here in Colorado. That's why you have these books in schools, in children's libraries where they can read about homosexual sex acts, but yet they're not worried about that these kids may not know actually how to read the book. But it's important to make sure you have the books in the library, because you got to push that social agenda onto the kid. Has nothing to do with teaching the kid skills. It has all to do with pushing the social agenda onto the kids within the public school system. That's why fighting for the future is paramount. You have to fight for our kids. And if you're not willing to fight for our kids, you're part of the problem. Because kids don't need to have this stuff in schools. It doesn't need to be there. Absolutely 100%. Secrets I keep from my mom does not need to be in a middle school library. Especially when you open that book up and it starts talking about how she's hooking up with another dude in her house. Don't need to do that stuff. Not needed. If a kid wants to read that, go to the public library and do that on your own time. That's fine. But no, they bring it into the schools. They bring it into the schools because it's a war on our children. Day in and day out. Oh, boy, oh, boy. We did have a little victory today, though. The Supreme Court passed a ruling. There is a group of parents that actually have been fighting to opt their kids out of the LGBTQ indoctrination. Can you believe that? Like, parents need to fight all the way to the Supreme Court in order to get a say on whether or not their kid mandatorily has to sit into an LGBTQ training. Can you hear that? Did you hear that right? Parents had to fight in order to be informed that their children were being shown LGBTQ stuff. Why do parents have to fight to the Supreme Court? Because that's what the system wants. Let's play it.
Regarding religious liberty and whether parents should be informed and be able to opt their children out from reading books in the classroom that go against their faith. Shannon Bream is at the Supreme Court. We were watching for this one. What's the verdict?
We were, Dana. So this brought together a coalition of parents of different religious faiths and backgrounds who said there used to be a rule in this particular school district that would let them know when there were books that dealt with issues that may be in conflict with their religious faith. Well, so many parents were opting out that the school board and the school district quit doing it. Well, 6-3 today in a decision by Justice Alito, they said these parents have earned at least a preliminary injunction. So while this case plays out, they said the board has to notify them about a book that's in question or anything similar so that their kids can be excused if it's in conflict with their faith. He says, as we've explained, without that, parents are left this choice: either risk their child's exposure to burdensome instruction or pay substantial sums for alternative educational services. Because at one point, Justice Jackson during the arguments had said, why don't they just go to a different school? Why don't you put them in private school or homeschool them? Justice Alito and others saying that's not practical for a lot of people. The dissent by Justice Sotomayor, joined by Justices Kagan and Jackson, says today's ruling threatens the essence of public education. She says it's not about bringing kids together to learn about a particular faith, but a range of concepts and views that reflect our entire society. Exposure to new ideas has always been a vital part of that project until now. The dissenters didn't think that the parents should get the opt-out. Justice Alito and the majority say they should.
Majority opinion.
Just wow. Just wow. And then basically the woke justices were like, well, how come, why don't you go to a different school? Wow. Just the actual disdain for the American family that wants to have their religious rights upheld. But yet at the same time, we'll allow Muslim prayer in public schools. Go figure. Go figure that. Right? The only thing that requires separation of church and state is just simply making sure the Christian church and the Christian faith and the beliefs of Christianity are stomped on and not respected. Everything else is all good. That's what this is becoming in America. And Christians, for the most part, have accepted this. Because for a long time, Christians have accepted the belief of, all right, we'll keep religion out of work. We'll keep religion out of school. Okay. Meanwhile, look what has happened now. Christianity gets completely ignored and trampled on and vilified. Right? Teachers can't have a cross in their classroom, but yet schools can have Ramadan prayer rooms. Make that make sense. How does that happen? Teachers can't decorate for Christmas, but schools are sending home Ramadan meals, which actually, if you follow Ramadan, you're supposed to eat, sundown, you fast when the sun's up, right? So school's in session when the sun's up. So why are actually schools sending meals out to families outside of the school day? Do they do that for Easter? Do they do that for Good Friday? They do that for Thanksgiving. No, if anything, schools may organize a food drive, but they won't prepare the meals to make sure that it's delivered to the families. They wouldn't do that, but they do it for Ramadan. Yeah, there's a lot of problems going on in America that need to get called out and need to be addressed and need to be made aware of. And it's just what is going on here in America on the day-to-day. And all this goes back to the original beginning, right? It's because leaders above us don't have principles. They can't stand on the hill and draw a hard line. They can't do any of that. Instead, they whim, wah, whoo, wah, go whichever way the wind blows, and this is what we get. Absolute chaos in our society. And then the ones that want our society to be organized, structured, and the way it needs to be, we're the ones that are vilified, and we're told the ones that we're the outcasts. Got it. And if you don't believe me of just how deep this goes, take a listen to Mike Huckabee on his explanation on why young Americans today are seeming to turn against Israel. Listen to this.
But where does that come from? There's a difference between dumb and ignorant. Dumb is that a person cannot process information. They just don't have the capacity. They don't have an operating system, if I put it in computer language. Ignorance is that the data isn't there. What we're dealing with is not an operating system problem. It's a data problem. We have not downloaded the proper data, the true data into the minds of younger people. And we've assumed that they're going to grow up intellectually curious and intellectually honest, and that they will look for themselves. But they're not. That's the problem. They're not looking. They're taking at face value what some podcaster says. And the result is absolutely dangerous.
So yeah, so Mike Huckabee is talking about how they basically need to reprogram the youth correctly, if you picked up on that in there. Okay, he's talking about people thinking freely, finding the information for themselves, right? Well, in 2026, that's why you have such a movement against Israel right now, is because people are trying to find out the information and are being blocked. So it makes people draw conclusions. Right? If you take a look at what's going on right now with the Middle Eastern conflict, Israel is censoring all types of media coming out of their country about what's actually happening inside of it. Okay? But you have Mike Huckabee now talking about how basically we need to make sure we're programming the youth. Do you hear this chatter? Do you hear how they speak? Do you hear what they want to do to our youth? This is why it's so important to be involved and to be aware and to make sure you're arming your kids with the factual knowledge to be ready for when the onslaught comes. If your kids are older now, they're teenagers, the onslaught's underway. My kid's still 4. I got some time. I still have some control. But that onslaught's going to come eventually in society. And people are critically thinking. The problem is when people ask questions and get bullshit answers or get told you don't need to follow up on that, you don't need to ask those questions, well, what do you think is going to start happening? People have questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination, nothing's coming out. Tyler Robinson, nothing's coming out. Right? It makes people question, makes people ask. Humans are curious beings by nature. And we don't just accept everything people tell us. We hear what you say, and then we verify. Well, at least what the smart ones should do. We hear what you say, but then we're going to verify based on our own sources, our own information, and whatever else we can piece together out there. It's not no willy-nilly, this, that, and the other thing. The one that actually believes blind loyalty and just believing what is told is my man Huckabee. So yeah, it's tough to hear stuff like that, and he's got a big prominent role. And how he's talking there and kind of what he's insinuating should make people take notice, should draw awareness to what they're looking to do. Okay? And before we get to our guest, we have a great guest that we're going to bring in. If you guys seen, we got an MMA fighter coming in. Hopefully we're not going to square up in here. I'd like to be able to physically go home today and still kind of have my face intact. So we should have a good conversation. But before we get to that, listen to this. If you don't believe the craziness isn't crazy, if you don't believe they've lost their mind over in Great Britain on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, check out this story on what happened to a toddler at a nursery school. Play it.
A toddler was suspended from a nursery after they were accused of being transphobic or homophobic. I just cannot believe this. The Department of Education data revealed the child is either 3 or 4 years old. A D.of.E., a Department of Education spokesman, said all pupils and staff should feel safe. I can't believe I'm reading this. Should feel safe and protected at school and should never face violence or abuse. The Education Secretary has been clear that she expects school leaders to enforce good behaviour, and we are committed to a comprehensive programme of behaviour to support all schools.
Did you guys hear that? 4-year-old toddler just got kicked out of nursery, suspended from nursery school, being accused of being transphobic. I want to know what the kid said. Anyone else curious? I really want to know what this kid said, that they're going to be suspended. But just take a look at what they're doing over there in England. That is coming here to the shores of America. If you guys haven't learned anything or paid attention to anything, Europe is about 5 to 10 years ahead of America on the curve. So whatever craziness is happening over there will wash up on our shores 5 to 10 years later. That's how it works. The immigration, socialism, suspending 4-year-olds for being transphobic this day and age. Whatever happens over there makes its way over here. Okay? So that's where we're at. I really wish that news report really gave a quote on what the kid said. I would have loved to hear what the context of the statement was, would have loved to hear what the statement was. Just wow. Just wow. So yeah, so I'm going to throw it to a break. When we come back from commercial, we'll be in studio with MMA fighter Jon Kunneman. So stick around and see you in a little bit.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back. That was quick. That was a quick turnaround. But to my left, I got a guy that could beat the shit out of me. And, and I am very grateful he came on today. Joe knows him, but Joe had to step out. He got called away on business last minute. But John was nice enough to still step in. And John, say what up to the fans.
I'm happy to be here, guys. It sucks Joe can't be here, but I'm excited to be on today.
How did you know Joe?
So he, just through kind of the same circles of the Republican Party, you know, he knows my dad. My dad's, you know, been to some of the same events as him, and he's like, yeah, my son lives in Colorado, and he's like, oh, I own a firearm company in Colorado, and we linked up. I went out to DCF and got to know him in person, and that's where we're at now, and now I'm a part of the DCF family, so.
There you go. I've seen you post some stuff on your social media page. I see that.
Stay tuned. We're going to have some funny skits coming up.
All right,
we're going to make some funny skits for sure.
I'm down. I also did a little Instagram stalking of you a little bit.
All right.
I want to put this cut up. I see that you like the mountains.
I do. I love the mountains. They're my home outside of fighting.
So I saw that you climbed I see you climbed 14 footers, but you did, it was 2 years ago, Crest and Needle.
Yeah.
No rope.
No rope. So, I mean, you don't technically need a rope. There's basically a grading system, and, you know, you wouldn't use a rope for a ladder, right?
True.
I mean, if you're up there, I mean, I guess you would, but that section's easy enough of climbing that you don't need a rope. It's just scary because if you fall, you're falling like 3,000 feet down.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a no-fall zone for sure. So, but it's my, you know, it's amazing cardio. Like before a fight, you know, you got to get in elite shape. And so going to the altitude, it raises your body's natural EPO. Your cardio gets way better. You use less oxygen. So if I go and like fight at sea level and I'm adapted to the altitude, basically it's so easy for my body to just function. And because I'm used to functioning with less oxygen when I'm active. So it's like having a third lung. If I go fight in like, you know, Florida or Miami, it's like cheating almost, but it's allowed. You can train at altitude, and that's what I do for my cardio. And climbing mountains is it's been a fun like side hobby for me outside of fighting, and it keeps me in shape and disciplined, so I love it.
How'd you discover it?
I remember it was after my pro debut. I was still living in New Mexico at the time, and I was like, you know, you dedicated your basically last 3 months of your existence to that day, that fight. And I was like, what do I do? Like, you know, I won my fight, and what's my goal right now? And I was like, let's just do something hard. So I was like, mountains near me. And I went and climbed a 13,000 foot mountain in New Mexico, and then I climbed my first 14er, which is Mount Elbert, which is the tallest one in Colorado. It's still like a walk up. It's not like dangerous or hard, but I climbed that one, and I was like, dude, this was the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, I was like, I mean, I've the most out of breath I've ever been, and I'm like, this would be really good for fighting. So then when I moved up to Colorado, I was like, this will be a fun, weekend pastime, hobby deal. So that's what I started doing.
So you go once a week? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I go once a week. It depends sometimes, like, if one of my coaches is out of town for another fighter for their fight, and it's a really great weather day, I might go during the week or something, so twice. But typically Saturdays, that's like my cardio day, and I go and try to get up as fast as I can, get as tired as possible, and then on the way down, just enjoy it and kind of be out of the gym routine, living in the gym basically 24/7. So it's nice to get out there.
Change the scenery. I get you.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
How'd the winter treat you out here in Colorado this year?
This was the easiest winter ever. I mean, I barely used snowshoes. I mean, it was like dry. I mean, there was still snow, obviously. You're at 14,000 feet, but this was like the craziest winter we've had in terms of how dry it was. Like, I mean, you could have worn trail runner shoes that you would wear in the summer out in this winter. It was insane. It was super windy, though. It was unusually windy. So for the lack of snow made up in wind, because the wind was just, we did Columbia Peak. It's a 14er, and my goal now, so I've done all the 14ers, and now I'm trying to climb all the 14ers in each season. So I'm trying to do them all in the spring, summer, fall, and winter, and then all the 13ers. So that's like my lifetime goal outside of fighting. It's just like a side thing that I'm doing, and so I'm going for all the winter events, calendar winter. So December 21st to March 21st, and I think it was like January. We're doing Columbia Peak, and the wind was literally pushing us over, like to our knees. Like, it was such strong winds, but it was like unusually dry, so it kind of like was a trade-off a little bit. If you prefer the snow on a calm day, is that better than less snow and crazy winds? So that's kind of the trade-off what we had. But it was insanely windy this winter, and but it's been hot and it's been warm, or hot and it's been dry. So it's like, you think about kind of the pros and cons of each. But I love it. That's what I do, man. I love the mountains, and anytime you or Joe, I've been telling Joe we gotta get Joe up there sometime.
Oh, okay.
For some content. If we want to get Joe some content, we gotta get him up the mountain for sure.
I'll bring this up to him now. Now I got something else for him. That works. And now if you're out here in Colorado, the snow's coming off the tops.
Yeah, it's already
melting away.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, for the most part, like up very high, like above tree line, like 12 to 14,000 feet, it's getting pretty dry. But from like 10 to 11,000 feet, the snow's like mushy soup, and you'll just sink to like waist deep. It sucks. So it's not the most fun time unless you want to go like overnight while the snow hasn't melted for the day yet, because it like melts during the day, freezes during the night, and so you got to start at like 2 a.m. right now if you don't want to have a terrible time.
If it's hard packed and solid. Yeah, makes sense. And I'm glad we brought this up, talked about, because I want to put this video up now. You put this up a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 months, about why you love training in the mountains a little bit with the penguin video.
Yeah,
that was cool, dude. That was
like a viral thing of like everyone was like posting about it. I'm like, I'm gonna make my post. It's like I saw one of them had like millions of views, and I was like, man, like these guys don't even climb mountains. They just post a picture of a penguin. I'm the penguin. Like, let me post it. So,
hey, let's run it, Damon. B1.
These penguins are all heading to the open water to the right. But one of them caught our eye, the one in the center. He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why? The rules for the humans are: do not disturb or hold up the penguin. Stand still and let him go on his way. And here he's heading off into the interior of the vast continent. With 5,000 kilometers ahead of him, he's heading toward death.
I love that. It's just a good like metaphor, you know, for just doing hard stuff. Have you ever heard of Alex Honnold?
No.
So have you seen that legendary video? The guy like free soloing.
Yes.
It's like he's free soloing the I forget the route. It was in Yosemite.
Okay.
And no ropes, and it's like a route that's like you would bring a rope. He's the only person to ever climb that without a rope. And he was saying, he's like, you know, you kind of need to be like do things that you're afraid of, because then your mind just starts to like create fears out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like people will go to, like he was saying, you know, they'll go to the airport and be like, oh no, I'm gonna miss my flight, what do I do? And he's like, you're in an air controlled building, there's food all around you, anything you could possibly need you have. People at the airport like stress, they freak out, and it's like, how bad of a situation is that? And if you haven't really like experienced real fear of like you can fall and die off a mountain, your body will like create fears out of things that you really don't need to like stress too much. And I think for fighting too, you know, if I've been in, you know, on cliff bands where it's like a fall is certain death and you're comfortable there, like how scary is a guy punching you in the face? You know, it's not. So that's kind of like the mental side of it. That's why I like the mountains too. And yeah, it's just overall, man, I think everyone should be out climbing peaks. It's so fun, man. You got to try it too. We're going to get Joe. We'll get Joe for sure.
I've done one with my wife.
14er?
Yeah.
Which one?
I didn't finish it though. I didn't finish it.
We got a round 2. Which one?
I think it was Princeton.
Okay.
I got to check with her.
Princeton? Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta check
Princeton's a pretty popular one.
I think
right by
that
Buena
might have
Vista?
been- yeah, we were down. Yeah.
Yeah.
That might have been it. I don't freaking remember. She might text me now if she's watching.
I did Princeton on January 4th or 5th, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, in the winter you have to start from the bottom of that road. You can't drive up. So
We were at the bottom of the road. So
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that it just adds. So I think it's like 15, 16 miles if you have to start at the bottom. So it's different. If you can get to the top of the road, it's like 6.5. That just changes the whole game. Like, you know. And what time did you guys start in the morning?
Morning, early, 7, 8.
Yeah, and even then
You got to
like,
go earlier.
if it's your first one, like, yes, you know, start at 5, 6. Like,
earlier.
even if you have a headlamp and you're just walking up the road before sunrise, like, it just gives you a head start. Because then, you know, by noon, is it summertime? I'm assuming.
Spring.
Spring, you get those afternoon storms if it's late enough into spring. You know, by like June to
I want to say
September.
it was May. I want to say it was May.
Okay, so May there's probably still some snow you probably had to deal with, yeah?
A little bit.
Little
it wasn't.
bit.
I'm trying to do this is like 6, 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
At this point, when we first moved into our house, maybe 8. So yeah, I just
What
texted her now.
what part of Colorado you guys?
We live in Aurora, man.
Okay. I was gonna say some close ones. You could do like Mount Bierstadt, super easy.
Okay.
It's a walk up from Georgetown. You drive up to Guanella Pass. Takes. I mean, I remember I did it for my summer set, and I saw college kids with a speaker blasting Taylor Swift, and I'm like, it's that type of one. It's a walk up, dude. There's nothing dangerous, and it's gradual. There's one small steep section like right toward the top, but I mean it's a cakewalk. And then like Grays and Tories, if you just do Grays, it's a walk up, or you know, some of those ones. Princeton's still on the easier side, but there are easier ones than.
You just know them all too. You just
Dude, I can name. People, all my friends tell me to shut up when we're like on a road trip. I'm like, all right, I'm naming that mountain, that mountain. I love it, man. I love just knowing the terrain of like where I live, and Colorado, man. It's the most. I grew up in Nebraska, so it's like just corn and city corn. Yep. There's nothing else. You know,
I-80
like,
all the way.
And then I went to New Mexico, and then they got mountains there, and that's when I was like, whoa, the mountains are pretty cool. And I'd hike, you know, some of the smaller hikes around some of the smaller mountains outside of Albuquerque, and then out here in Colorado, man, they definitely became a part of me for sure. And they just help, like I said, with training, man, every aspect of it. Like I think every fighter should be climbing mountains for sure.
What mountain was that on, by the way? Do you remember?
That was a few. So the windy, crazy one was Mount Sherman.
Okay.
The other one was, I want to say that crazy one was Castle Conundrum or the backside of Quandary. So Quandary's another easy one if you go up the East Ridge, but that video, if you go up the West Ridge, it's like a whole another ball game. So just like East Ridge is a walk up, super easy from Breckenridge, and then the West Ridge is like, you know, there's some no-fall zones on that West Ridge. So I think it might have been that. And those were the 2 clips I used for that one.
Do you ski or snowboard?
No, never,
No.
never. The risk of injury, dude. Like if you fall, like, and I don't know if you guys have seen the video of me ice skating. There's a video of me ice skating. Dude, they had, you know, Evergreen? You know, the town, they have Evergreen Lake. And
you went out on a frozen lake to ski?
On a frozen lake from first time. It was me, my teammate Neil Magny, Logan, my girlfriend Kylie. And they had these little green walkers, and I was walking around with this green walker because I was like, dude, I'm gonna fall. And so I was like, no, I'm not. It's just you're gonna fall when you learn. So I'm not trying to like hurt my knee or if snowboarding fall on your wrists.
Yeah.
You know, so
got it full tucked in.
Yeah. So I'm not. If I got hurt, because there's really no risk of injury climbing mountains. Like you could fall and die, sure, but
no injury.
But no injury, right? It's skiing
No
and snowboarding,
setbacks,
you're gonna fall. Like you know, so it's like. If I were to get hurt skiing or snowboarding and couldn't fight for a period of time, I'd be so upset with myself. So I avoid it. Maybe after I'm done fighting, I'll get into it. But for now, it's just climbing, snowshoeing up, snowshoeing down. And I think, you know, skiing's crazy, right? People ski some gnarly stuff, but there's something like kind of hardcore about like snowshoeing up and down through deep snow and not having anything take you down the mountain.
No, it's all you.
Yeah, it's just, they're both hard. They, you know, respect to them both, but there's something about, there's this guy, shout out Will Erickson. He's the guy that everyone in Colorado, he climbs all the winter, he's done all the winter 14ers, like Capitol Peak, the Bells, all the most dangerous ones in the winter months. And he'll snowshoe and make a trench in waist deep snow for 10 miles. And it's just like,
badass.
The amount of work that requires is just out of this world.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I don't know if I'll be doing that.
I mean, some of those days you're burning like several thousand calories.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just insane.
How hard you're working?
Yeah.
So what got you into fighting?
I've just always loved the idea of like individual sports like wrestling, you know, and wrestling it's like it's all you. In football, you know, you have your whole, you know, 10 other guys on the field to like help cover up your mistakes should you make one, you know, in fighting it's just you. And so I got into it as a kid with boxing and wrestling and then jiu-jitsu, and I fell in love with it, man. It was like literally life-changing things that gave me discipline. And I think a lot of people today have issues in their lives because they don't have discipline with like themselves. Like they might work hard in their job, they might make a lot of money and things like that, but they don't have like inner discipline to like eat right. You know, you go to a grocery store and like you look at inside of a grocery store and you see, you know, you got a cereal aisle, you got a chip aisle, you got a cookie aisle, you got a soda aisle, you have, you know, the canned good aisle. All that's like processed stuff, and people eat like food that's not real. And it's like it takes a lot of discipline. Like I would love to just eat chips and cookies, but like, you know, with fighting you can't live like that. No. And so there's just a level of discipline required to like, you know, be humble and learn, you know, and like whether you lose in the cage or you lose in life, like fighting teaches you to get back up and keep overcoming things that are uncomfortable. Because like, let's say a guy hits you really hard in a fight, your fight or flight choice comes up of like, oh, that sucked. I can curl up and some punches put you out cold. You have no control, right? You know, if you get hit with a heater, you know, your brain might shut off. But if something hurts, you know, let's say you get kicked in the body and it's like, oh, that sucked. You can keep fighting. You can find a way to win. A guy takes you down and dumps you on your head and you're on bottom with a guy trying to elbow your head off. Like, you have to stay calm and find a way to win. And I think that like ability comes from discipline. And so I think fighting is just a thing that requires you to be ultra disciplined in all aspects of your life. You know, you're not, you know, you're training, you know, in football, if you play, like you watch football,
yeah,
you know, you play wide receiver, you're focusing on what does a wide receiver do. But in MMA, I got to learn to have high level boxing, high level kickboxing. My wrestling's got to be good. I have to know jiu-jitsu, and you're learning like 4 sports, and you have to try to be as high level within those 4 to 5 sports or whatever different fields of fighting you do as possible. And I think that like it takes a little bit more time training and working than say like a football player. You know, like a football player, you got to be really good, but you know, you don't have to learn what, you know, a running back does as a DB, you know? And so your body, you're training so much because you got to learn, you know, an hour of boxing, an hour of wrestling, an hour of this and that. And if you go home and you go party or things like that, like you're taking away from fighting, you know, and so your whole life has to kind of revolve around fighting, and it just, like I said, it teaches you to be focused and disciplined, and that's what I like. I like that journey of that inner growth from that. So
fascinating. I got a question for you here. Is discipline taught to you, or is it something that's instilled into you that you have?
I think it's taught only.
Taught only.
It could be wrong, but from what I've understood is like.
So you need someone to teach you discipline.
Yourself. You can.
Okay.
I taught discipline to myself.
I taught
it to myself. So like obviously people can teach it to you, mentors, but like you have to make the choice every day to get up on time and go do what you're doing. You have to make the choice to go show up to the gym and give it your all. You have not only show up to the gym, but be focused in the gym. People go and do like workouts and their head's not in it. They're thinking about work. They're thinking about other stuff in the gym. Like you got to be focused, and the outside world can't exist, you know. And like you have to be focused and disciplined with your diet. I see fighters who are great fighters, but they eat terribly between fights, and then they have brutal weight cuts. Then they miss weight, and they lose a portion of their fight purse. And so you have to be literally totally live a life of total discipline. And I think a lot of that, like, you know, it's not the end all be all, because, you know, sometimes you have really talented guys who have enough discipline to be successful. But I think that discipline fulfills all the right places in your life. And I think that, like, you can only teach yourself that. People can preach to you and tell you, do this, do that, but you have to make the choice to eat right, train right, work hard, you know, stay focused, not waste time on pointless activities, or like I call them worthless luxuries, like, you know, junk food and drugs, alcohol, like things like that. Like you can waste your time on those things, but, you know, would you rather the time wasted spent on those types of things, would you rather put into getting better at what you're trying to do? And that doesn't just apply to fighting. That's whatever you do in life, you know. It can be.
That's exactly where I was going, because you just apply that concept to everyday life, right? Getting up, showing up, going to work on time, making your bed, right? All the little things that make you successful along the way.
Yeah.
Every one of those things is a concerted choice you got to make along the way to do it. No one's going to do it for you.
Exactly. The little wins, the little stack up all the smallest victories that you can, and that. It doesn't guarantee success, but it ups your odds of success a lot more than what they would have been had you just been lazy, you know? So that's my thing, is I always try to increase the odds, tip the odds in my favor however I can, by training hard, eating right, being disciplined, little wins, things like that.
Yeah, there's no guarantees, but the best thing you can do is just put yourself in the best position to be successful.
Exactly. Yeah, that's literally it.
That plus with a little God's timing, maybe?
Yep, time. There's things like fighting has a lot of luck involved, you know? Sometimes you can throw a punch and the guy opens up just right and you land clean and he's out. Sometimes you get, you know, you have a tough fight, your opponent gets hurt and you get filled in against an easier opponent. You know, sometimes like there is luck involved, timing and things like that. But like I said, at the end of the day, you can't control those things.
Right.
You know, you can only control what you're doing. So you might as well, you know, tip the odds in your favor by winning the things that you can control. So that's where I approach it from.
Professional question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the person that's hit you the hardest? Well, what's the hardest hit you've ever been
Jon
on the back?
Jones hits hard.
Okay,
dude, yeah.
okay.
Justin Gaethje's another one that hits like a truck.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah,
Justin sparring with him a couple
He's
years
fighting
ago.
at the White House, man.
Oh, he's on that card.
I think he's the main event.
Okay.
He's fighting the Spanish guy, Ilya Topuria. And Gaethje's Colorado. He's from Colorado.
I thought I recognized his name. I used to watch MMA about 4 or 5 years ago. Then life has just been completely out of hand, so I lost.
That's how people are. It's like in phases, and then they forget.
I know that name. I've seen that name before.
So he's the main event of the UFC White House card. He trains out here in Colorado, and he hits like a truck. That's what he's known for, man. He literally lives and dies by his sword. You know, he either wins by
knocking you
out, or he loses and he gets caught. I mean, that's just his, and that's what people like to see. You know, the guy that can risk it all like that. Like, I mean, he's first ballot Hall of Famer for sure when it's all said and done. So
I got this clip of you training, hitting your heavy bag. You okay if we put this up?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you could share anything you want.
Hey, let's roll B3, Damon. Let's check this out.
That's who needs therapy when you got a heavy bag?
Oh, no, thank you. I would not want to be on the back end of that. But so true. So true. It's a good way to get it.
It's so fun. I love boxing.
See,
and that was at my house in the mountains too, so it's tiring at altitude.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a support beam in my garage that I could attach a heavy bag to, but I got a standing one right now, a weighted one, standing one. I want that though.
Yeah, it's better. It's more realistic to hang. And even if you can get a bigger bag than that, like one that doesn't move a ton.
Okay.
Because you want to be able to find like rhythm hitting the bag, and that's the thing is like people misinterpret what the bag's for. They try to just like kill the bag, and yeah, you want to be able to use your power on it, but use the bag to like learn rhythm and find a flow, and then you can start hitting hard. You know, people just go up to the bag and they just try to kill the dang thing, and it's like find a rhythm, get a flow with your head movement, your footwork, your hands, make your whole body work in unison, and then you can start sitting on your shots. But I think a bigger bag that doesn't move as much is a little bit better for that.
Hear you. I agree. I want mine to move a little, like it's stationary, it's weighted down, like, and I can clean, like I want the rhythm, and you don't get it because it's not going with you.
When you get a huge bag that does hang, it moves enough for you to still find your rhythm and your flow. Like I would get one even a little bigger than the one I was using there in that video. So if maybe 150-pound bag, something like that, you'll have a lot of fun for sure.
You throwing some punches, man. I don't want no part of that.
I love it, man. I love boxing.
I hear you, man. When I get pissed and I need to hit something, I go to my garage. It feels great.
It does,
I go,
man.
and like, I'm not in rhythm like that. Like, I'm wailing, just going nuts because I'm just pissed.
But when you get into like a flow state, then more so than think about it, like, don't worry about getting your energy out and just killing the bag. But you'd be surprised how much you like cool down, and like when like let's say you got some bad situation with family or work or whatever, and you're just like pissed off. If you go and hit the bag, but like find a flow and put on a song that you can like move to kind of on rhythm with, like you'd be surprised how much that like cools you down and just like makes you not overthink whatever situation you're going out there to hit the bag for, you know?
Okay,
so
I'll
try it. Try to
try
get in
that.
the flow. Like don't worry about hitting it so hard.
Because I just go to knock it out, 45 seconds, minute, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Well, it's more fun too to hit it for 20 minutes and just kind of get a flow, break a little sweat, like, and instead of just killing it. And then, you know, you can do like cycles of like, you know, 3-minute rounds, then maybe the last 10 seconds of that 3-minute round, really try to, you can set a timer that tells you 10 seconds, and then you kill the bag, and then take a minute, do another 3-minute round or 5-minute round, something like that, and then you can make it a workout too.
I gotta start working on my cardio, man. Because boxing's hard, dude.
It is,
people don't realize, like, go 3 minutes trying to hit something is tiring.
It's so tiring.
It's tiring.
Yeah.
All credit to all you fighters, man.
It's exhausting, man. I don't think there's a sport out there that's as tiring as fighting.
No, the overall shape you have to be in to make sure you are physically in shape, you gotta be mentally in shape, and then also willing to basically knock the fuck out.
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, it's you have to have that, like, you might die in there.
Yeah.
You know, you have to accept that, and it's what makes it so rewarding, man. Because if you go in and you do win, and you know you overcame that risk of like, hey, man, this guy could put me out cold in front of millions of people. You know, that's a scary thing to have to overcome. A lot of people don't want to find out what their resolve is in that type of situation, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's embarrassing, you know. If you go get knocked out in front of the world, like, it's like, man, the whole world just saw me get knocked out. It's like, but if you can still show up and go in there, it's like, that's respect, you know. It's not easy.
Yeah, no. Getting humbled is hard.
Yeah.
Getting humbled is
fighting,
hard.
and you'll find that fighters are often some of the most humble people because they've been in there and been just broken, you know, mentally and physically. So that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, and then you learn to respect your opponent because you just know one punch can end it all. You could be dominating and they just sneak one in on you and it's game over.
It's a wrap. Yeah, I've seen it happen, man. It's crazy. It's a crazy game.
It is. It is. You got to be totally on your game 100% all the time.
For sure,
just
man.
like that, it could end it for you.
Yep.
So, you okay to talk a little politics?
Let's do it. Let's run it. Yeah.
Right. What's your take on what's going on in either Colorado or federally right now? You take your pick.
Yeah, I just think that, like, we live in a world where everyone now has a voice, like with social media, and so I think we live in a world of so much misinformation, and so when you get people with a lot of money that can put out messages and there's always subliminal messages with everything on TV. That's why I don't watch much TV, man, because they're always filtering things in there to influence people that this or that. And like, I think that a lot of Americans, like, I think one of the biggest ones that bugged me for a long time is we had like millions of Americans supporting defunding the police. That to me was like, where are we? That was like when it really hit me. Like, you know, that was after COVID or shortly after COVID, you'd say?
It was 2020, baby.
2020, kind of same time, right? George Floyd.
Right after George Floyd.
And it's like, people were like hating cops, and it's like, man, they're not only like, okay, let's just look at cops as people for a second. They are working a job, trying to make a living, right? There are bad apples in every single community. There's bad doctors. I know fighters that are not good people. I know people that are shady in different fields.
Yeah.
Just because it's a, law enforcement, people think it's all bad people. It's all like, cops have been some of the best people that I've met and some of the most just genuine, down-to-earth people. And it's like, you want to talk about defunding the police. It's like, that's when it hit me that like, that is such an asinine idea to me that like the only way to get that to be a popular ideology is through powerful influence. And so when you pay powerful people or like respected people to say, hey, we don't respect the police. If you don't respect the police, you don't respect law and order, you don't respect morality, you don't respect everything. And I think that the left wing really tried to push that for a long time, and that's when it's kind of led to where we're at now in our country with so many different messages that they're pushing on people and like forcing people to have to like respect and believe, and if you don't, then you're a bigot, you're hateful, you're this and that, and it's
racist.
Like, yeah, and it's like we're not allowed to believe for ourselves if it goes against what they want, and it's like that to me, that's crazy. When you start like, another big one was when you start restricting what people can and can't say, whether it's wrong or right, whether you agree with it or not. Like, if you believe in our First Amendment, we should have the right to say what we want, and I think if your intentions, there's a million ways to skin a cat or whatever the saying is, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the Republicans are all right. I'm not saying the left is all wrong. But what I am saying is people look at things so like my way is right, and then they get so upset when you have a differing opinion. And I'm pointing to the left at this because the left is like, you challenge anything that like they say or what their beliefs are, they automatically start labeling you as a bigot, as a hateful person, evil, racist, whatever it may be. And it's like, our First Amendment protects those rights. And as long as you can say, it goes back to discipline. If you know you're a good person and you're standing for what you believe is morally right, like how are you a bigot? How are you racist? How are you hateful? Like, and I think that like, that's what I am so upset by with the left. I support Trump. I'm a Republican, but I don't fully believe he's right about every single thing, right? I don't fully I have to look at what I believe is morally correct. I know that if I were to say something that, hey, I don't think Trump did this totally right, most people on the Republican or conservative side of things would be like, okay, elaborate. When I have said like, hey, I didn't quite agree with this, elaborate, let me hear your view. Now, if on the other hand I say, oh, I don't like what Kamala Harris did, the left wing, a lot of the times where I've had discussions, they just like lose their minds and start, you're hateful, they can't have a reasonable conversation. And I think that trickles down. And I think that comes from the powerful people on that side that do push these messages and indoctrinate people into their beliefs. And I think that hurts our country. And I think like, you can't live like that. Like you have to, if you are living your life indoctrinating a whole side to just automatically not even be able to have a sense of reason, like back in 2020, if you told someone like, hey, I don't really support the whole mask thing, or like, I wasn't even out there saying like, I don't want the vaccine, but I was like, I just got to know more before I just jump on this. And people be like, oh, you don't care about people, or like, and I'm like, hold on, that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. Like, I just need more info. And I don't think a mask that is a little paper cloth over your face needs to be worn in public. Like that's, I come from a gym, like the gym life, like the amount of bacteria and stuff that we swap. I feel like fighters get sick than most people, and people are all wearing a mask every single place they go. And it's like back in COVID, and it's like, but if you challenge that, I'm sure you remember, if you were telling someone who's wearing a mask, or they come up to you at a store and say, "Where's your mask?" And you say, "Hey, I would just be like, I don't really believe in the whole mask thing." They would look at you like you're Satan, like, you know what I mean? And like, that's what I'm trying to say with this is like, I believe a lot of the left wing movement has like really pushed that. Like, if you challenge us and our beliefs, like they're the ones that get bigoted and hateful, in my opinion, you know? And like I said, I'm not out here saying like the right wing side of things is perfect. The left wing side is not totally wrong, but the right wing movement, Trump, has always given people more of a voice to like speak their beliefs, speak what they think is right. And I will, to the day I die, always support the side that I believe does that. And I think Trump is leading that, like allowing people to have their freedoms to say what they want, say what they feel. And if they disagree with something, like he does, I've heard him literally have discussions with people on different podcasts or just interviews and whatnot that you see, like he's reasonable. He can have reason. And I think that the other side, I just don't know if I can say the same for. So
yeah, I hear you on that. They're not so nice.
Yeah.
They come after you. You know, my body, my choice went out the window when the vaccine came out, because if you refused the vaccine, you lost your job.
I know. People literally got fired. Like that to me is like, that makes me like so mad, because it's like, you're going to sit on one hand and say, my body, my choice, but then force, and whether you agree with abortion or not.
Right.
Right?
But apply the same logic.
Apply the same logic to that. Like, let people choose if they want the vaccine. Like, if you, I have always said, I want more information. I'm not vaccinated. I always said I wanted more information before I got it. You know, I'd seen the different timelines on different vaccines, on how long they take to get like cleared and produced. And then again, I don't know the exact numbers and everything, but the COVID vaccine was like way faster prep. And I'm just like, I need some information. I need to see what this does. And there's too many conflicting things that made me feel like I wanted to do that. And the one thing that made me just go, I'm never getting this thing, is you've probably seen the video. I don't know who it is, but he's eating a burger and fries. And he's like, if you get the vaccine, you get a free burger and some free fries. You've seen that video?
Bill de Blasio, former mayor of New York City.
Yeah. And he's like saying you get a free burger. I'm like, so let me get this straight. The same people telling me to get this vaccine are offering me a totally, like, that's fake food. First off, like, you're going to bribe me to get a burger and fries. Also something like, I have a whole big thing with like the FDA and how I think the FDA is like in cahoots with big pharma to like their, you know, you look at, all right, let's talk, let's get it going.
Keep going.
I said this earlier, you go to a grocery store, all right, you look at, like, I personally believe as people, we should eat real food that comes from the earth, God, right? Like meat, fruit, vegetables, rice, potatoes, natural foods, with nothing processed in it. You go to a grocery store, you have the whole aisle for chips, that's one. You have like the soda pop aisle, that's a whole aisle. You have the ice cream frozen aisle with like bars and sherbet, whatever. Cereal, that's another one. They have like the cookies and crackers aisle. They have like the baking aisle with all the different sugars and baking crap that's there. They have the canned goods aisle. Like, that's not like with condiments. Like, do you think ranch and ketchup are good for you?
We do homemade ranch now at the house. My wife makes homemade ranch.
You look at take a ranch bottle from the store and read what is on the back of it and tell me that is healthy.
But when you can't pronounce the words you're eating, there's a problem.
Exactly. And so this is what I'm getting at. Our whole country, 40+% of the United States is obese.
It's got to be more than that, man.
It might be.
It has to be more.
I think that's a concern. I think it's like 45.
There's
look it up.
Got a quite large number of people in America.
I think it's like 60% is overweight, but like clinically obese is like 4.5 out of every 10 people. Even if that's the case, 40% of our country is obese. You can't, like, how do you defend yourself? How do you defend your family? How do you, 40%? Yeah, so 40% of our country is obese. That is so absurd to me. And now let's look at this.
40.3% of U.S. adults aged 20 and older have obesity. BMI greater than 30.
That's like extreme overweight.
Yeah.
That's not like, hey, I'm like 15 over, 20 over. Like that's like I'm like 50 pounds overweight.
Severe obesity is at 10% of all adults.
That's crazy.
And that's a BMI mass of over 40%.
That's
40.
absolutely insane. And so my point is with this.
Time out, one more before you go any further. Combined percentage of overweight and obese people in America. Can you get a percentage?
75?
72% of Americans are overweight or obese.
Yeah. So like someone like me and you, like we're fit guys, like you're in shape. I'm in
Kinda.
shape. Yeah, but you're not overweight. Like your weight's good. Like,
I appreciate
like,
that. Thank you.
We're in 20. Like we're a minority in that sense.
Yes.
And so you look at what you go to the grocery store and you see people's whole baskets are filled with chips and crackers, cookies, cereal, and those chemicals. You want to talk about something that's going on in our country? We have a mental health crisis. Everyone, it seems like, is on some antidepressant, anti this, that drug, painkillers,
SSRI,
all whatever all that is. But I think the thing is, like, when if you're putting cereal, processed chemicals in your body every single day like that, like that's gotta wreak havoc here, because it wrecks. If a human is not supposed to be obese, so if it's wreaking havoc to your physical health, your brain is still part of your physical health, right?
Correct.
When you're putting all that processed sugar and junk in your body, like that's not good for your brain. And you wonder, like I'm sure you go eat a whole bowl of ice cream right now, you have an energy, and then you crash. That's not good for your hormones.
It sounds delicious, though.
It sounds delicious,
but discipline's gonna say no.
I know, right? But here's the thing. What I'm getting at politically with this is like almost all of our country is basically either obese or on some medication, right? Because I think the FDA and Big Pharma work together, because Big Pharma is in the United States is like one of the biggest industries in the world. Like you look at, I'm a type 1 diabetic, right?
Okay.
I was diagnosed at age 11. It's an autoimmune disorder. So basically my body thinks it's a freak thing. You get as a kid, usually when you're under 18, your body thinks that the cells that produce insulin in your body are bad cells. So my body's getting rid of those cells, attacking those cells. So I have nothing telling my pancreas to produce insulin. So basically, like, the whole United States lives on junk. And so it's like, you think now your mental health sour, you're in diabetes is a huge industry. It pays like, it's like I could be wrong. Look up what diabetes is worth, like as an industry. Is it billions, trillions? Like it's up there. And so now if you have the FDA getting people on these crazy medications, depressed, and their minds are out of whack on Adderall and all these different drugs, like how much money do you think that generates from bad food?
Oh, a ridiculous amount.
Now we're talking.
Ridiculous amount.
And
90 to 190 billion dollars.
That's insane. And now we go back to what was the former mayor of New York? What was his name?
Bill de Blasio.
Bill de Blasio?
De Blasio.
De Blasio. He's sitting there eating that crappy food, that's not food, fake food, processed chemical junk, a slimy burger and fries, and he's getting people to, because he knows that our whole country basically lives off that, right? They say, you can look it up in 10 years, what our projected obesity rate will be over 50%. Like, that's killing our country right there. And they're like, oh yeah, let's go get vaccinated. It'll be healthy for you, but we'll give you a really terrible for you burger and fries if you go do it. That to me, like, made me want to like spit. I looked at that and I'm like, these people don't care about our wellness. The FDA doesn't care about anything but furthering how the revenue of their industry. So same with Big Pharma, and I think they all kind of work together on it. And I think that, like, when I saw that the vaccine was like, this is how they're trying to get people to take it, I was like, no, this isn't what, and I should be allowed to have that personal choice. I'm a grown adult. Like,
Correct.
I'm not hurting anyone, right? Just because I can get it, like, okay, if it kills me, it kills me. But like, that's my choice. I shouldn't be forced to take a drug in my body that I don't believe in. You know what I mean? Like, that's like forcing me to eat burgers and fries. Like, to me, it's like, I'm not going to eat that. Like, I'm not going to harm my health, and I should have the full control of what I put in my body, including a vaccine. And I thought that when they came at the American people really hard, laid people off from their jobs, fired them, you know, ultimatums and outright like basically just didn't allow anyone to have their freedoms with that, I couldn't support that. And I think that it's pretty evident, like whether you think the Republican movement or the liberal movement is right or wrong, anywhere that tells me how to live my life and what I need to do is someone that's trying to control me. And our Constitution is based on our freedoms. And I will always lean toward where I feel like our freedoms as Americans go. And as soon as you start telling me what I have to start taking and not taking and wearing in terms of a mask and things like that, that's when, like, you know, because COVID, I was, 20 years old. I already had some beliefs, but, you're becoming an adult, learning things for yourself, like how the world works. And COVID was kind of a teaching point for me to really see that, like, I truly don't believe the decision makers and important people in the left-wing movement have the American people's best interests in mind. And it's evident by how their people respond when you disagree with them, how they censor people, how they tell you, call you whatever their list of names are, bigot, all the stuff listed. Yeah, smear you. And look at what Joe's been smeared by the liberals so many times. It's like, it's like, how
there'll be something coming out on him tonight on News Network. We found out already.
It's like, and that's the thing. It's like, you can't support a party that does that. No matter who it is. I'll always lean to what the freedoms of the American people are, and I don't believe the left-wing movement does that. So,
well said. Here's a little diabetes care update for you. So it's estimated to be between 190 and 192 billion in 2025. It's looking to expand, the treatment market's looking to expand to 370 billion by 2032. So what is that, 7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 years. Yeah.
6 years, 370 billion.
Yeah. And that's the
almost
thing,
double, almost double it.
And type 2 diabetes is the diabetes that, like, a lot of times, like, people get from years of not eating right. Basically, so your body produces insulin from your beta cells, and with type 2 diet, so type 1 is like totally an autoimmune disorder. You can't really help it. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. It just is. It's a freak thing that happens. Type 2, you see people get later in life, and they get it from their beta cells still work fine, produce insulin, but their receptors in their body doesn't absorb the insulin that you produce, so it leads to high blood sugar. So I don't produce insulin as a type 1 diabetic, but type 2, they still produce it, but after years of bad eating and spiking their blood sugar, their body's not receptive to the insulin. They've worn their system down. And so you can fuel type 2 diabetes by putting a whole American diet on processed food, essentially. And type 1, like I said, you could eat perfect as a kid and still get it. It doesn't have any you don't have a choice. But type 2, well, it's not always totally your fault. You have a very large, you can protect yourself from type 2 diabetes by eating right.
You have some personal responsibility.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And so you get people on all these medications and fat loss drugs that are terrible for you, like Ozempic and all this other stuff. And then you get people on metformin, which allows your body to absorb insulin. Like, insulin itself, prices are so expensive, and it's like, I really believe that the FDA and Big Pharma, if you want to talk about like corrupt industries, that's it. And that's why I really like Robert Kennedy, RFK. He's taken a stand against, like, chemicals in foods. Like, I don't quote me on it, but I think they're working to ban red 40, which is like in a lot of drinks. It makes that like red flavoring or like coloring.
I think it's next year it goes into effect.
Yeah, and so like stuff like that, I get so behind that, because I feel like that it's taking drugs out of food that shouldn't be in food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a drug to me. It's a chemical that does not belong in the human body, right?
Well, what actually needs to be added to food for us to eat? Nothing really. And if you eat fresh,
like,
right? If you eat
I think canned stuff, some of the preservatives that like enhance the shelf life, sure, if that's what you want, the route you want to go, But meat, fruit, vegetables, rice. That's all a human needs.
White rice? You're a white rice guy?
White rice. Yeah. I like white rice. But rice is rice. You can do brown rice, white rice, but real foods. And I think that the FDA, like I said, the FDA and Big Pharma work together, and it's like you're referring customers to each other. You know what I mean?
A lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
There's no money to be made in the solution. Money's made in the problem.
Well, a lot of those drugs that Big Pharma, prescribes people is they have dietary issues. They get crazy hunger, mood swings. People when they get stressed, what do? They eat. They stress eat. So you're taking drugs that just destroy the chemical balance in your brain. You're gonna eat. If you're eating like absolute junk, chemical processed food, you're going to likely have a higher rate of depression and all mental disorders. What are you going to go do? Get on whatever drugs Big Pharma prescribes people. So it's like a feedback loop that they refer each
just
other.
Hook you up onto the system and around you go.
And so many Americans are so oblivious to this. And I think a lot of the left-wing movement is kind of behind that. You look at the people in charge of Big Pharma and some of the largest, pharmaceutical industries and people behind the FDA and I could be wrong, but there was some person with the FDA that I saw that was who was in Biden's cabinet, who was whoever was in charge of health. I don't know what the official title.
The transgender?
Yes.
Levine?
And she, whatever, it was overweight and I'm regardless of the transgender thing, you look at
who's in charge?
You want someone I want a runner, or give me someone who's in shape and has a six pack to be there, right? Who is this person? What do they know about eating healthy? That if you're 30 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, why does that person tell me what to do? Or what the guidelines should be? That's insane to me. That's crazy. Where's put David Goggins there, someone who runs and eats good food, someone who actually knows how to live healthy, eat natural foods. That's what people need to hear. It's not about eat this kind of, you can eat cookies as long as it's within your calorie amount. And it's that's so, yeah. Anyway, I could talk about how stupid that choice of a person was. I'm just
it's all good. It was a tranny too, and he had gender dysphoria of mental health. But let's put him in charge of
what humans need to eat.
Yeah.
Was that the title?
Yeah.
What's the position title called?
Head of HHS. What Kennedy is now, director.
Okay, so that's Kennedy's position.
Yep.
Look how in shape he is. How old is RFK?
He's in his 60s. So former drug user too. He was a drug addict.
That's
for a
crazy.
While. Yeah.
And you look, and so he's seen both sides.
Yes.
He's seen the side of not being healthy and what drugs are like. And I'm sure when you're on drugs, you're not eating how you should. We look at him now, he's in shape, dude. He's got some muscles.
He bangs out push-ups, pull-ups, all that.
Yeah. That's the guy, who, you can't just have a meathead be that position because you have to have, the formal education and all that. But RFK's in shape, That's someone
it just gives you more credibility.
Yeah. If you're an average American and you're I got 30 pounds to lose, I need to learn what I need to do. All right, what is RFK putting out? I can see this, they could look up to someone like that and be wow, if I could be like RFK in my 60s, I'm cool with that. I'm in shape, he's doing push-ups. There's 60-year-olds living in on walkers.
I know.
And who
assisted living facilities.
Yeah. At 60 years old, it's 60 years old, you're still it's young enough to still,
life ain't over. Life is definitely not over.
You should still be able to be very active at 60.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going as hard as you are when you're, my age, but RFK, that you look at the last person versus RFK, that's what we need. And that's what I'm saying is I feel the left movement, if they really had the best interests of all of us, they would have, you'd have an RFK in there, and you look at who Trump appointed. Trump cares. He wants people to be healthy, be right, and get this crap, drain the swamp he's always campaigned on since the beginning. It's putting someone like RFK in there to start working on banning some of these chemicals and things that's in our food. That's a big deal. That shows that love or hate Trump, that to me, if you look at it from a purely objective, logical standpoint, that is better for the American people than whatever the last person on there was.
Oh, I'll agree. I'll agree.
And that's what I'm saying. It's that tells me that I know when I'm supporting Trump that I'm making the right choice, because I know that he's working to make America he cares about the greater good. You know what I mean? And that to me is important.
Fair.
That's the most important thing to me.
what side would you say is more authoritarian, the left or the right?
Oh, the left, for sure. I mean,
so what do you think about all these No Kings protests?
That's crazy to me. It's like...
You know we're coming to Colorado this weekend, right?
Really?
Yeah. Hey, Damon, let's get C3 queued up, baby. They're coming to Colorado this weekend.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's
Douglas
crazy.
County.
Wow.
Hey, Damon, let's roll C3 when you get a chance.
Saturday, March 28th, millions of Americans will be protesting the Trump administration and No Kings Day, and we are once again participating here in Douglas County, Colorado, and Highlands Ranch. So please consider joining us, and we need more marshals. We are expecting thousands of people, and we need marshals to make this possible. So please consider signing up. No experience is required, and you can do that at the second link in our bio. Hope to see you there, and hope that you'll consider volunteering.
Can I make a point on that? It's what is confusing about the No Kings deal is that regardless of what, like I said, so love Trump, hate Trump. Let's look at it. I'm trying to look at it from like a neutral standpoint to be logical on this. Love or hate Trump, he is still subjected to the regulations of a two-term limit. You know, he's not. It's not like he's in his third term. How is he considered a king? Like how if you logistically or fundamentally look at that whole idea of no kings, Trump will be not in office in November of 2028. Mm-hmm. There's a whole new vote. You know what I mean? Work on your legislation. What's a no kings protest? Just because you disagree with what his policies are, you look at what I disagreed with a lot of Biden's policies, most of Biden's policies, but I wasn't out there saying no kings. Like, you know what I mean? Calling him a king, it's like, he won't be president after 2028 when his term is up.
Correct.
That's the whole point of how our country's like, is it the legislative branch works? Like, or the judicial branch? Like,
he's the executive, Trump's the executive.
Executive branch. It's like, that's how the checks and balances of the whole term limit is in place for that purpose. Am I wrong on that?
No,
I mean,
you're right.
Like, that's what I'm saying. So it just makes no sense that like, how, like he has a Senate to vote on things. There's a whole House to vote on things. Just because you don't agree with his policies and the way that our country's going, and a lot of those protests are kind of nasty. I've heard they get violent. They get, you know.
Yeah, they're not the best. You know? They're not the best bunch of people to have time off and just to congregate.
Yeah,
they're not.
And what day is it?
This Saturday coming up.
Yeah, it's like.
So these people complain no Kings contest, but the only thing Trump is doing is saying, no men in women's sports. No men in women's locker room. And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. We want illegal immigration under control and out.
I agree with that.
But he's no kings. Meanwhile, in this state, they run like their own criminal enterprise.
Let's touch on those two topics. The immigration thing.
Go.
I support everyone having a chance to change their lives. You know, I do believe America does have a very, very good opportunity to, your ceiling is a lot higher than, say, you lived in Mexico, to really have a prosperous life.
Absolutely. Right? That's why everyone comes here.
That's why they come here. But if you come here and the very first thing you do when you enter a country is break the law by coming here illegally, then you shouldn't be here, right? We have, I don't know the numbers on it, but I'm sure a very large number of immigrants are legally get their green card every year, right? I'm sure it's a pretty high number that do it legally through the actual channels that you're supposed to. Do it the right way. If you come here illegally, like you can't break it's literally, the word illegal is in the statement. They're illegal aliens, right? Illegal immigrants. If you come here illegally and you literally break the law, that's breaking the law, right? If it's illegal, you're breaking the law.
But that's why, if you notice, when Biden was in charge, do you know what they called them?
What?
They called them newcomers.
That's crazy.
They weren't illegal immigrants. They were branded newcomers.
And I'll tell you, in Biden's term, I still lived in Denver. I live out in the mountains pretty far now, and I had to get out of the city, man, when it was getting crazy.
I used to live in downtown,
We used to have be a sanctuary city. I had a whole homeless encampment from immigrants under my apartment. My car got broken into, and I'm not trying to like be prejudiced on anything. Like,
you're speaking facts, your experience.
My car literally got broken into by a homeless encampment of people that were bussed here from I don't know where, but they were bussed here, and they were immigrants, and they did nothing about it. It's like, that does not benefit them or me of them being here, right?
Correct.
And if they can't come here and do it through the official channels that you're supposed to, then you don't belong here. Like, you should not be here. That we have, then why do we have if they're allowed to be here, why do we have an official immigration program for our country in the first place?
Great question.
Why can't they just come here and just chill here and be here?
Why can't just everyone? Hey,
Right, exactly. They have those things set in place for a reason. Like, if you, like, tough luck. I'm not gonna go, like, defect and go over to the UK and just live in the UK. Like, if I were to want to be a citizen of the UK, I would have to go through whatever their legal channels of becoming a citizen are.
Yeah, you can't just show up on their show and be, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Where's my hotel room? Where's my cell phone? Where's my
and you got
credit card?
some of these people living on like food stamps, taxpayer money, like, and what are they benefiting here? Like, they don't help the greater good of our country, you know? Like, why are we taking care of people who aren't even legal citizens over our own? That just doesn't make sense to me. That's the immigration, in my opinion.
Fair.
On that. The transgenders in women's sports. There was
Do you see what's happening in MMA? You see what they're gonna put on?
No.
Oh, buddy, let me get this. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited.
I've really been able to see firsthand what the. You want to see what? Let me see here. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I'm gonna read this, guys. Don't worry.
So it's a transgender versus. So I'm assuming the girl on the left's a biological female.
It's a tranny versus tranny match. So we got coming up. You got two trans MMA fighters.
Wow.
A woman pretending to be a man, and a man pretending to be a woman will fight against each other in a Femme World Championship. This will take place on June 20th, 2026, in Middleton, New Jersey, at the Middletown Sports Complex.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you this. I know firsthand the real differences between a man and a woman. Like, there are high-level girls in the UFC. Like me and my girlfriend, right? She's a professional fighter. I'm a professional fighter, and I love my girlfriend. She's very talented. My girlfriend's super high-level, man. Like, super high-level. Like, she can choke out some smaller guys. But as soon as you start throwing hands, and as soon as you start getting some of the power behind it. Now, the training is the factor. Like, no offense, my girlfriend can come in and choke you in 2 seconds.
I'm not taking any offense to that.
If you knew how to fight, it wouldn't even be close.
Fair.
A man, literally, like, if I were to go in and fight a woman, it would be so dangerous. Like, I could, like, we've had like
even
low level.
Even if you're gonna pretend to be a woman, it will still be dangerous.
It doesn't
go
matter.
in there wearing a wig.
I went through puberty as a man.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what you like. The puberty is what changes everything. You know, you'll see like kids like in like middle school, like boys and girls wrestle each other, and the girls win sometimes. Like up until like 10, 12 years old, you'll see the girls win. But as soon as puberty hits, and as soon as a boy starts producing testosterone, his bones get denser, he starts growing, he starts getting a little bit of muscle on him. The muscle fibers are much thicker and denser and explosive. A girl can't generate the amount of force that I can with my body in terms of a punch, a kick. It's like we've had, and I won't name any names, but we've had high-level girls like who train for a big fight. And they'll be like UFC girls that are in the top 5 or 10. And this is throughout the years I've seen. And they'll spar like a 1-0 pro at the same weight. Because, the girls' weight classes is 115, 125, 135, 145. So let's say a girl that fights at 125 is sparring a guy that fights at 125. And this girl's top 5 in the UFC in the world. And this guy's like 1-0 as a pro, regional guy coming up. He destroys her.
Right.
Right, it's not even close, and it's like, now you take that, like I said, the comparison of a man and a woman in a fighting aspect is so far apart. I could hit a girl, and it would be so detrimental and dangerous. That's why, like, I firmly believe, like, even if a girl's hitting you, especially like as a fighter. You never hit a woman. No. Their bone structure is not as dense as a man's. They don't have their muscles not as pliable, as strong, as and explosive as a man's. Like, now you take other sports, and you factor in what I just said of like how much more like athletic a man is. If you go through puberty as a man, no matter what hormones you take, you still have that like core base muscle density, bone density. You still produce testosterone far higher than a woman ever could. Even if a woman took steroids, it doesn't matter. Your body, a biological male is meant to be built on testosterone as they go through puberty. Like that's literally how they become a man. It's how
you're talking science.
That's what we're talking, right? And I'm just speaking like very, very, very fundamentally. I'm not claiming to be, a scientific expert, but like a man and a woman the fundamental difference is estrogen and testosterone, right? As a man, as we produce testosterone, it's what gives us the power to be strong, to be fast, to be athletic, explosive. You look at every mile time that's ever been done. You look at the men's record, the women's record. You look at the fastest sprints, the fastest swims. So now you take a man that's,
watch the NBA and WNBA.
You could take the worst guy in the NBA and put him in the WNBA, and he'd be 10 times better than everyone else in there.
Dominant. That's why. That's why. What's her face? His face. Thomas, the trans swimmer.
Yeah.
That dominated the NCAA's over Riley Gaines. Because he was, I think, like the 150th ranked men's D1 swimmer.
He still produced testosterone and went through puberty.
And became the #1 ranked woman swimmer.
That's so crazy to me. Like I said, if people want to do what they want to do outside of that, fine, I can't control that, but they're not gonna go into women's bathrooms, and they're not gonna go into women's sports. That's what I believe very strongly on.
I'm with you on this. Man, I'm gonna jump around on you, Damon. Damon, can you get C5 ready for us? Reason why I wanna do this is we're hitting on transgenderism. It's March 26th. Baseball's officially underway. I'm a baseball guy. I'm a Met fan. But I found this clip on Instagram this morning, and it's about the Yankees. And you're like, what the hell is this guy gonna play this for me? Just watch this. Play it, Damon.
The New York Yankees, my now beloved New York Yankees, are the first team in Major League Baseball to have a tampon partner. They're offering these tampons in every single men's bathroom at Yankee Stadium this season. I just have a question. Why?
Now the why is confusing.
Who's asking for them? And if you don't think there's going to be a game this year with flying tampons, then you know nothing about the Bronx, New York. It's going to happen.
It is.
There's going to be people dunking tampons in their beers. There's going to be people throwing tampons. There's going to be tampons taped to helmets. There's going to be a tampon problem at Yankee Stadium.
Apparently, if a man is quite the alcoholic, they will soak said tampon in vodka.
Yes.
And then put that tampon.
But here's the problem with that. Yes.
No.
Came up yesterday.
And it bypasses, you get drunker.
It's a quicker drunk.
Yeah, because it bypasses.
Yes.
It's the old, as they call it on college campuses, which is really discouraged now, the butt chug.
So yeah,
so that's real.
That's real.
That's like 100% confirmed. They're gonna have tampons like in the men's
that
bathroom.
guy is a big New York City broadcaster. Carson, he is tuned into all of it.
Wow.
Yes, he is not joking.
That's actually crazy.
I heard the Baltimore Orioles were also playing with this idea. So you have sporting teams now looking to put tampons in men's bathrooms.
That's crazy. See, I always just like I said, I always lean to the side of freedom and logic. And like I said, no party's perfect. You could have 100 new political parties come up, and none of them are going to be perfect. I'm not saying the Republican Party's perfect. I'm not saying, but you don't see that type of illogical behavior coming from the Republican Party, right? And that to me is where I'm just looking at it. Like I try to look at things like objectively, and look at them like, how does this like make sense for everyone? And
pro cons, weigh it.
Yeah, and it's just like something like that is so stupid to me. Like it's so dumb that like if there were a female that went over to be a man or whatever, that's like it's such a rare thing to have tampons in all of the men's bathrooms to accommodate that one person that.
What are you gonna do with it though?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with it?
It's just that
There's a woman that's literally going to go in there for a period, right? We really think that's going to happen. And that one person
got at a Yankees game.
Mm-hmm. But that's what the left does. Yeah. The exception to everything becomes the new rule, and that's how they play.
Yeah, and they move the goalposts. There's a lot. They move the goalposts all the time. You know, at first it was like, you know, the vaccine wouldn't be mandated. I remember when masks came out, they were like, we recommend masks, and then they mandated them. Mm-hmm. It started like, you know, and had Americans not stood up for that and like fought against that, like who knows how much further they would have pushed the goalpost, you know? And so that's where it's like, I don't believe in that side that's gonna operate that way, you know? And that's, I believe in, like I said, the freedoms and logical rules that are made. You know, there's laws that are illogical that are out there, and it's like, I don't support that, but I support anything that's, you know, speed limits are pretty logical, right? Yeah. You know, I believe we shouldn't have people flying 100 miles an hour down the road. That seems like a pretty logical rule. I think it's pretty logical that you can't, you know, rob a bank. Like, let's put logical laws in place and not things that are like, hey, we're gonna put tampons in a men's bathroom that are never going to be used just so we can further the goalpost. It's all an agenda. That's the only, like, again, looking at logic, the only way that could ever make sense for them to, you know, approve something like that would be some sort of ultimate agenda that's like trying to be pushed.
Fair. And I believe this is going to blow up in their face.
Yeah.
In the Bronx. I don't know if you guys know any Yankee fans or anything out there, but Yankee fans don't tolerate a lot of bullshit. Yeah. I do not see this going over well.
No, yeah, and the East Coast. My girlfriend's dad's from Boston, so it's not New York, but he's East Coast, and they don't take.
I'm a New York. I'm a Queens guy.
Okay.
So like that's not gonna fly well. That guy Carson's 100% right. Shit will get real there. Tampons will be sprayed, be raining from the upper deck during one of these games. I guarantee it.
Oh man, that's crazy.
And we'll
let's see what happens.
I can't wait to watch it. Yeah. I bet it happens sooner than later too.
So they're already there. This is happening now.
Yep. Season's underway today.
All right. Oh, today's opening day.
Yeah. Okay. I believe the Yankees opened last night on the West Coast. Decent amount of teams are opening up today, and then everyone's on tomorrow.
Okay.
And I got one more clip/question for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you believe Colorado is California light?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Okay, what do you think about Colorado?
I think that it's a blue state.
Okay.
But I came from New Mexico, and New Mexico's a very blue state. The mayor, I forget what her name was. The mayor of Can you look up the mayor of New Mexico 2020?
What town?
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque?
Sorry. Albuquerque. I forget her name. I remember some of the restrictions. And again, I wasn't in Colorado during COVID. I was in New Mexico, so I can't speak for what it was like up here. But I remember New Mexico to have some crazy... I'll tell you a story once you give me this name.
2020 you said, right?
2020.
Maybe. Tim Keller.
2021.
Okay.
Might have been the governor, too, actually. Now that I think about it. There's a name I'm looking for. Mayor, it was a female. Tim Keller is 2021. Who's the governor of in 2020? That's who it is. It was sorry, not the mayor. Governor of New Mexico.
Michelle
Lujan. Lujan. Grisham. Yep. So it was the governor. So I remember like they started putting laws in place for, I don't know the exact terminology and the exact details, but when I was training down there, I had some fighter teammates, friends who were both in the fire department and the local police department. And the police department would say, hey, if we have to take down a suspect, there's so many checks and balances on us right now that like if we even touch like a suspect, we're gonna get screwed because the way our politics are. They were asking the fire department guys to like apprehend them and help them cuff them because they were so worried about getting in trouble. So do you want to talk about a liberal state? New Mexico was like pretty bad. Colorado, I think the biggest thing I've seen was the gun ban that they passed. That was absolutely ridiculous. But you do look at Colorado versus California, and some of the things that I'm seeing in California are so far beyond Colorado that I don't like where we're at in Colorado, but I do believe California is honestly not fixable, in my opinion.
But are we trajectorying that?
We're moving that way.
Okay.
We are moving that way, but what I'm saying is why I don't believe it's California light is I do believe we can still salvage Colorado. I really believe we can. I don't think California is so far gone that there's nothing you can do to California to ever fix it, and there's no way California is ever going to be a red state. It's just, in my opinion, I could be wrong. It's just how I've looked at things. I'm not based on any facts, but I don't ever see California being a red state.
Dems run that state. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
Dems run New York. That's not coming back. They run Illinois.
Colorado, like I said, I lived in New Mexico, and New Mexico to me was right up there with Colorado. I don't love where we're at in Colorado, but I do believe that there's enough people with a voice here to change where we're going. And I don't think...
Do we have a homeless problem here?
We do have a homeless problem, though. Yeah.
That's
in Denver.
That's a California problem that's made its way
I don't know if it's as bad. Like I said, the trajectory is definitely heading that way, but I do believe that there's enough people that, especially the last year or two, that I've seen really stand up and voice their opinions and are willing to stand up and fight for Colorado. There's some big ranches, man. There's some big country folk out here in Colorado that are not gonna let our state fall.
You got this guy in this chair, not me, but I'm sitting in the chair for the guy.
Joe, for sure. And that's
Joe's
what I
got
mean.
some weight behind him. Yeah, he does.
Joe's making a difference, man. He's trying to be a voice, and like I said, love or hate Joe, man. He's standing up for what he believes in and what he believes is right. And if you're looking for a candidate that is genuine, that is gonna say what he believes, like I said, I think most American people just want honesty. They want true facts. They don't want people that are just you don't know what you're hearing from most politicians. Joe says how he feels, what he believes in, and he's willing to fight for how he feels. And there's a lot of Americans in Colorado that feel the same way, that I think are willing to stand on their beliefs and really push to make a difference. And so that's why I believe Colorado is salvageable. I don't think we're doomed like California. Are we a blue state that's following some of the same pathways as California? Yeah, but so is New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So is, Oregon's heading that way. Washington's kind of heading that way. Some of the, northeastern states are heading that way. But I think some of the Northeast is worse than Colorado.
I'll agree with you on that.
I think New Mexico is, from living there, right up there as bad as Colorado. Maybe Denver can be, it's close, but in terms of over as a whole, again, I was up there or down there in New Mexico during COVID, so it was a little bit of a different time for me. But I would say that that time period felt more. I felt the weight of some of the bad policies in that liberal movement more than I do here. Granted, I don't live in Denver anymore.
Well, I want to show you something from Denver right now.
So I do have high hopes for Colorado. I think we can salvage it. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I really hope that, we can all put our voices together and hopefully turn some things around. Especially that stupid gun ban was absolutely the most.
Well, you got that going on. You got the misgendering that you can get fined if you misgender people.
I'd see that, as stupid as that is that enforced by cops?
No, but they could file a complaint, and then eventually you could get sued for it.
Because I was going to say...
There has to be a paper trail, but you can get sued for it.
I was going to say, find me a cop who would actually enforce that, who would be like, yeah, whatever,
I'm pretty sure if one of these trannies calls 911 and the cop shows up and the cop's like, I'm not doing anything, I guarantee that tranny's writing down that name and that cop's going to get something.
Yeah.
It's like that out here, man. And just a little... I hope this state is salvageable. I've had bad experience here in this state. I'll be honest with you. I've had a bad experience. I lost my job as an educator. I was in education for 17 years.
What'd you teach?
I was a social studies teacher for 12 years.
Okay.
I did 9 years at a high school back in New York.
Okay.
Then I did 3 years at Mosley in Aurora as a social studies teacher. Then I became a dean at Hinckley High School.
Okay.
Then I became a dean at Campus Middle School over here in Cherry Creek.
Okay.
And they recently fired me 2 years ago because I was in an equity training. I was asked, what do I identify as? I identified as an American that loved this country. I was deemed to have racist undertones in my statement, and I was fired.
Wow.
There's a federal lawsuit that I'm going on with.
Do you have an actual quote of you saying like what your words are? If you can say like, hey, this is what I said.
A lot of things I can't say right now because litigation can happen.
Yeah.
But I've lost at the district court already. The district court wouldn't even let us in for oral arguments.
Wow. Well, from someone that's not involved with it, and I know nothing about the case, if you simply said, I identify as American who loves this country, I don't see how there's a legal grounds to fire someone for saying that with racial undertones.
Well,
if that's truly what was said, I'd be like, take me to court. Like
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying to.
That's where my mind would be at with that. So,
but but they actually didn't say that's why they fired me. They actually said they fired me for a budgetary cut. But when they published their numbers, there was no budgetary cut to the school.
Oh. So then you went back and were like, yo, what's
so then I then I got America First Legal to be my lawyers.
Okay.
So America First Legal, Stephen Miller's group.
Are they based here in Colorado?
They're based in Washington, D.C.
Okay, okay.
But Stephen Miller, who basically works in the Trump administration, you know,
yeah.
bald-headed guy, always talking that hardline immigration.
Yep. He's representing you, or his lawyers, his team?
His organization is representing me.
Okay, awesome.
And I mean, we have oral arguments finally May 12th.
If you...
Sorry, one second.
If you were to roll over...
I'm giving it... No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you were to roll over, that's what they expect people to do.
I ain't going nowhere.
That's what I'm saying. And there's enough of us here that can fight against this kind of stuff.
Oh, I ain't going anywhere.
Let's go. I like it.
And we finally have, for anyone that's listening that follows from Cherry Creek School District, I know they're not going to make this announcement for you, but I will. There are oral arguments scheduled in Hogarty versus Cherry Creek School District for May 12th. That's a Tuesday, 9 a.m. Cherry Creek School District will finally have to say out loud and publicly that they fired me in the name of diversity, equity, inclusion. They already wrote that into their legal paperwork. It's online. Go take a look at it. Now they're going to have to say this publicly. Can't wait. Can't wait. Sorry, had to get it off my chest.
Have to. You gotta show it. You gotta get people fighting with you too. It does take a village with things like that.
It's crazy, dude. So. And the federal judge is like, "Oh, you lied to him about why you fired him? That's okay. He said this in his training, but you said there's no professional liability. Okay, no, that's okay. You can do that to him too. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Hogarty, you needed to acknowledge the systemic oppression of what people of color go through. Actually written on my paperwork by a federal judge.
Wow.
And I never even got a chance to speak in front of this judge.
Wow.
But she actually wrote it on court. Like my lawyer.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a good team.
Yo, dude. I just can't wait. Can't wait. And the reason why I brought up California Light is Colorado New California Light. I just want to show you this clip. You hit on Denver quite a bit. Check out this clip from Denver on C4.
It's the motherfucking DRE. Dr. Dre, motherfucker.
Homeless encampments.
Yeah. There was one under my old apartment.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's why I left.
Main roads, too.
Yeah. How you feel? Whoop-de-whoop, nigga, what? Dre and Snoop Chronic down in the lag. With Doc in the back, sipping on yak. Clipping the strap, dipping through hoods. Compton, Long Beach, Inglewood. South Central out to the west side. This California love, this California bug. Got a nigga gang of pub. I'm on one, I might bell up in the Century Club. With my jeans on, and my team strong. Get my drink on, and my smoke on.
That's crazy.
Yo, that is crazy. And also, that's just on the streets. If you actually go off trails in Colorado, you got 10 cities off trails all over the place, especially over here. If you take Arapahoe out east, if you head out east on Arapahoe, before Parker Road, there's a trailhead. If you go on that trailhead and go underneath Arapahoe, Camp City.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But our policies attract this.
Yeah.
Our policies attract this.
Yep. I mean, look at Austin, Texas. You know, I've heard people who live there talk about how the city's just gone downhill.
And that city has recently flipped. What, 6, 7 years? It's become more liberal with the tech business growing and the people from Cali moving in there. And this is what these policies breed.
Yep.
And then we're sitting here be like, we don't like this. We don't want this. We don't want our kids to have it. But yet I'm a racist because I'm saying no. This is not acceptable.
Yeah.
No. Open drug use, homelessness on the streets. Those people are having a tough time. Get them some forced help. You know, like you can't have this. You can't have this in society.
You can't, at least in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In some places, it's with poor, like, we got to have standards too. You know, if we're going to be a world superpower and a world country that's supposedly sets an example for how, we kind of do set the standard, right, of what living, should be and what a prosperous country. If we're the American dream, people want to come here to live and be, and have a what's the word? A good life, fruitful life. Why that doesn't fit that narrative of what people when they come here should hope to achieve when they move here.
And it's the same people that allow homelessness to happen argue, well, they should be allowed to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Well, I want no men in my daughter's changing room.
Yeah,
So
and that's more important than even the, that's more important than even the sports. The bathroom thing is like, if you like, I'm pretty strong about the sports, but the bathroom thing, it's like there should be zero tolerance. Of
agreed.
Of any, it should be biological female bathroom, biological male bathroom. If you want to have like a private one-stall bathroom that they can use and like like a family bathroom, sure, but it's biological females go in whatever you identify as. That should not.
Or give them a tranny locker room. Let the trannies all have a locker room together.
Yeah.
Give them the third option. Give them a third compete group too. Let them all play against each other. You know what's going to happen within 2 weeks.
But I'm saying like the grocery store and stuff like that. Like going like it should be biological male, biological female. That's the. Whatever you identify as, because they'd like to separate what the gender identity and their gender and their actual biological gender. They quote two different definitions.
Yeah, they're two different. Gender and sex are two different things in that world.
I think that like whatever your biological gender is, that should be the bathroom you're legally obligated to use, regardless of what your identity is. That to me, it's that there's no tolerance. In my opinion, especially when you got little girls like going in the girls' bathroom, and then you have a man like going in there.
Dude, like we were, my wife and me went up to the Children's Museum in Denver, I want to say about 2 months ago now. And it was Denver night, but it was a free kids night, so we wanted to take our kid to the museum. We went up to the children's section in the back area of the Children's Museum. You had furries walking around back there.
I don't even know what that is.
Adults wearing costumes that get their rocks off by dressing up as animals. Walking around the kids area in the children's.
I got one for you actually.
There you go. See.
I got there was I gotta remember what it was. It was a pride parade, I believe.
Okay.
And it was in I want to say it was in Portland, but I could be wrong. Or Seattle. Might have been Seattle.
Either one sounds right. Either one could be right.
Seattle. There's like an aerial picture, and shame on these parents for bringing their kid there. It's a family, brought like a little kid. He's probably under 10 years old, 8 years old, and literally in the screenshot, if you zoom in, like where's Waldo type of thing, and you look at all the people, there's literally a group of naked men like 10 yards from them, and there's a little kid there, like a little kid in the same like open space as naked men. Those men should be charged.
Indecent exposure.
And why can you do that at a pride parade? But if you go walk down the street naked, you're in trouble and you're getting a felony. Why did they get? And again, I know I'm just talking, like I'm not providing any sources, but I literally saw a picture of a pride parade that had that, and I was like, what? You have a little kid, like I said, shame on the parents for bringing that kid there.
Right.
And you have a group of naked adults like standing like 10 yards from them in front of them. And I'm like that's so crazy to me, like that's just like okay, like to have naked adults in front of a little kid and no one gets in trouble, you know?
Degradation of our society.
And that's literally it.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like so sick. Like I think there's nothing more pure than like the innocence of like a child, like a kid, you know, a
100%.
young kid. And it's like when you start throwing that out the window, I think that is such like an evil deal to me. And the fact that those guys could go do that and people are okay with it and no one goes up to them and says anything like, yo, there's kids here, like, get out of here type of thing, like that to me is crazy.
That's their culture on that side, though. They promote that. That's why the grooming happens on that side.
And that's why, yeah,
pedophilia.
they've indoctrinated people to be like okay with that. And that's what I've said from the beginning when we switched over to politics is that like there's an ulterior like motive to like indoctrinate people to be okay with like the things that the agendas they're trying to push. And I think that that's where like you don't see that on the right wing side of things versus the left wing side of things. Yeah. You see motives being pushed blatantly on the left wing side of things. You know, eating the burger and saying getting the vaccine. You know, naked adults in front of a child in public, like
tranny story time, right? All that, all
like
that shit.
You know, and that to me, with kids, right? At schools that we're talking about.
Drag time, like drag queen story time.
If I was a parent and my kid went to that school, dude, I would have been so mad if I found out like my kid had to sit there, like at the end of the day, like again, I'm not trying to like, you know, knock anyone for what they do and whatever they do is whatever they do, right? But I go back to the fundamentals. Regardless of what your beliefs are, regardless of what you do, what is the fundamental goal of every species?
Survival?
Survival, but reproduce.
Procreate.
Yeah,
yes,
right?
Procreate.
Reproduce. That is the most natural thing any species is trying to do. Like every
They all do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We all do it. You're
so why is like if that's like our thing as a species is to survive and reproduce and produce offspring, why is it like so promoted so heavily to like, you know, defy that, like, and put, you know, like that shouldn't be like a thing where like, hey, it's like celebrated in front of kids who don't even know what that means yet. Like, I saw the picture of like, you know, it was like a bunch of drag people like reading books to kids, and they were like little kids, like 8 maybe years old or so.
Too young.
Like, most of those kids don't even know what that means, but it's just like indoctrinating them into like that's okay, that's normal. Like, and that's where like that life shouldn't be like celebrated to people and pushed on them, that it's like okay to just like do that, like that they can
do that in your own
exactly
behind your own door.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's where like if you do, that's how you live, like that it shouldn't be pushed on kids and like you know, passed down through. It shouldn't be influenced and encouraged in people to like just do that, because it's not like natural behavior is for us. Like our goal is to reproduce, you know, and that's just, you know, my take on it. How I try to look at, like I said, I try to look at the most fundamental logic of it all, and to me that just isn't. It's not logical to me.
No, I hear you. And oh man, I forgot I was gonna say I had something good for you, but I completely forgot. It's all right. It's all right. Great conversation today, though.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
Would you like to pray us out?
Sure. I'm totally down.
Let's do it.
All right.
Pray us out.
All right. Well, Father, I pray that today, well, first I thank you for having me on and having a great conversation today. You know, I get encouraged talking to people who are moral and have good, healthy values for life. And you know, I think that I pray that we as a state in Colorado can rally together and promote good again. Father, I pray that we don't turn to California. I pray that we don't turn to a lawless, immoral state. And I pray that we find a voice through you. And I pray that we find morality again as a state to find the greater good, to win souls, to be better people, to uplift you in the highest way we can. And that's what I pray for, and I'm very grateful that we got to have this conversation today, and we got to speak on some of these important topics, and continue to fight, because that's what we have to do. And I thank you for that, and I thank you for us having a great conversation today. Amen.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, everyone. I'm out of here. Signing off. Joe is in chair tomorrow. We should have a interesting topic out of Pennsylvania. We've been working it all week. Interesting law case going on 13 years. We'll be bringing that to you tomorrow. Other than that, class dismissed.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Kuma's lies, dominions deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Hart and Tina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night, restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. Enrollment, it's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Help the single moms, bring back trade school strong, opportunity for youth, where the brave belong. Audit every NGO, ban the wolves that roam, reclaim our stolen land, bring the power home. Eric Kuma's fraud, dominions, rigged design, expose the stolen votes, cross the dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash the fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true, badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away, shrink the bloated state, let the people have the say. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call, truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise up untamed. In the heart of the fight where the wild ones roam, Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it the hill. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown, tame nation. It's our battle.